everyone, and welcome to a car profile. Then once again, we're looking at the Aston Martin DBR9 GT1. Now, if you're going, where's the beat the meta? I did it a fair few months ago, so you can check that out at the end of this video. Now, this car is an Aston Martin, of course, DBR9 GT1, yet it's in Group 3, so it's been nerfed heavily down to GT3 Group 3 specifications. Has a 5.9-litre V12 engine. Yes, it does. That's quite significant. Now, in terms of this car in the GT1 class, it has raced at Le Mans. It's won Le Mans. It won it twice in a row. The specific livery is actually from the 4th place car in 2008. It's got a long racing history, raced from 2005 to 2011 in terms of the Aston Martin racing. There is a GT3 version called the DBR9, but that's not what we're using here. Now, it doesn't feel like it belongs in Group 3, and I'll talk more about that in the car profiles. Let's jump into it now then, and let's get on with it. So, what do we do in the car profiles? First of all, I say this every time, a low, a medium, and high-speed bot. That's what's in Gran Turismo. Currently, they're all the same, but even so, we get a feel of where the car is placed at each given circuit. The low-speed circuit is Laguna Seca. As we come out of Turn 1 then, we have a new benchmark car here at Laguna Seca in terms of faster laps. It's the Dodge Viper SRT GT3R. And as we cross that line there, we are just over a tenth down on that Dodge Viper then as we continue on through. That was quite a surprise, to be honest, to be so close, because the Aston Martin, to me, feels very understeery, especially on very medium speed corners, you know, where there's lots of sweeping corners is where it really does struggle. Coming up to here, for example, obviously it's mid-speed corner here. It just struggled so much versus other cars. I really had to slow the car down. It didn't want to turn in. I have a feeling it's to do with the weight of the car because it feels substantial in terms of that. You know, it's been nerfed down to Group 3 characteristics. And that is a problem, in my opinion. As we go through the second split then, we are 2.5 tenths down on that Dodge Viper. Not losing too much time there. Maybe gaining on some of the straights there on the Viper as we go into the right-hander and head towards the final corner then. Now, in terms of this car, braking, for this corner, I had to brake so early. You notice I had to drop the first gear actually to slow the car down. I did get it right. Obviously, we'll look at the optimum overall times for these. This is the fastest lap I did in the car. We finished on a 22.2 there, 22.3 essentially. Nearly half, or just a half a tenth down, or half a second down, sorry, on the Dodge Viper. I will get my words out there eventually. Right, let's have a look at the table. And remember, the table looks at optimum times, not fastest lap, because it's easier to get optimum sectors. And you can see there, it's 4th place at the moment, the Aston Martin. It's down on that Chevrolet, on the Dodge, and of course, the Audi was the one that got the best time here at Laguna Seca. So remember, we take the best optimum sectors, because it's easy to do 10 different sectors. So essentially, it's like doing 30 laps at Laguna Seca, 40 laps at other circuits. And we can put the optimum time together and give you the overall best chance at where it's placed. Now, coming into Suzuka then, Turn 1 was atrocious, right? So coming in very fast initially, it was fine. When you drop down into 3rd gear, this is where the car absolutely struggles at this sort of speed. It's horrendous at this speed. It really is. Notice, you can see the understeer on your screen right now. It just doesn't want to turn. It's like the aero stops working and the car's just like, nah, I can't work. Sorry, I'm just going to have to go slower through here. As we go through here, look at that. We're half a second down pretty much on that Audi R8, which is the fastest car here at the moment in terms of fastest laps. That is so significant, it is untrue. And you can see on the right-hand side there, we're not even in the 59 yet. And obviously, a lot of cars have been placed in that 59. As we come through Tidgney 2 then, through we go. Again, I was trying a mixture of all sorts of gears here. This, of course, is the fastest lap. And we are nearly 8 tenths down. It shows you how much that Sector 1 really impacts this car, because it's long sweeping corners. Coming out of here, 2nd gear, you get a bit of power oversteer in 2nd gear. Nothing huge, very easily controllable, as you saw there. So, you know, this car very stable. Because it's been nerfed so much, the power is down, the weight is up. It is what it is in terms of the car, you know. It's a very stable car in the grand scheme of it, which can be nice for some of you. But as you're seeing here, the understeer is just diabolical. It really is. And diabolical is a strong word, but it is atrocious. I feel like this car shouldn't be in Group 3, and maybe it's something we look at in the future. Where should this car actually be placed? As we head towards the line then, we were 7, nearly 8 tenths down actually at the end of Sector 2. Where are we now then? So we've gained a little bit there. That'll be some of the top end speed. We had a few straights there. And oh yeah, the 130R there, you saw I had to brake so much for that. I will tell you now, it's nearly 10 miles an hour down on the Audi R8 in that corner and the Dodge Viper. It could not do the 130R at all. So as we come towards the line then, we'll see how far we are off there. Remember, we were 0.730 down. We lose half a second in that last sector, and it's only 22 seconds. And it's all 130R there, mainly, because it's literally, it wouldn't turn through the 130R. I tried everything. Just doesn't turn. We'll have a look where it sits in the optimum board then, and you can guess where it fits there. Look at that, down in P6. A 2 minute, couldn't get in the 59s, could not get in the 59s. Some major work needs to happen with this car at Suzuka, or medium speed in general. It's just atrocious. It's really bad. And this is where these 3 bops that exist, this is the perfect time to go, okay, that Aston Martin needs some work at the medium speed bop. And that's why I'm doing these videos as well, Maybe it helps GT. I'll talk to them at Amsterdam. We'll see what happens. Heading towards Bathurst then. This is where you expect the car to pick up, of course, because of the straights as we continue through turn 1. A bit of understeer there, but we managed to go through that as we head towards the first sector then. We're racing the Corvette here, the Corvette with the fastest time. If you remember too, that Corvette profile, it did an unbelievable lap here, so it's going to be very hard to beat. Oh, hello. Well, I'll say very hard to beat there. We're nearly a 10th up on the Corvette as we head into the right-hander. But of course, this is a long sweeper, so look at the understeer that just instantly comes in. I'm having to really get the car around, really fight it around then as we head up the mountain then into here. I struggled with this. Look how much wide the car goes here. I had to really let off early and really try and counter that understeer as we go up the mountain now. In towards this next right-hander again. I had to lift for so long. Look at this. I'm really fighting that understeer in this car as well, going down this hill through this left-hander. Again, you're going to see me lift a long time here just because I can't get the car turned as we go over the crest of the hill and get it turned in here. We're at least 5 miles an hour down on the Viper as we go down here then. How far are we off on the Corvette? Only 3.5 temps, so we survived some of that, but you saw how much we had to lift here. Going through this left-hander, very good here. Very good, because it's a very stable car. A little bit of a clip of the curb forces a bit of nice oversteer, to be fair, as we go down into Forest Elbow then. Through here we go. Gonna belt it out of here as quick as we can. You do rev this car, of course. It's just above 7,250 revs there as we continue on towards the next sector then. How far off are we from the Corvette then? That is the next question as we cross that line now. 6 temps. Remember, the Corvette did an amazing sector 3, to be fair, but we are still 6 temps down on the Corvette. Obviously, this is where the Aston picks up. I had to brake extremely early for this corner again, and the understeer through this right-hander, you have to be so careful about running too wide there. Look at that, so close to that curve then as we head over towards that right-hand side and in towards the braking zone. So the big thing to take away from this car is the braking is bad, and mid-speed corners are shocking, absolutely shocking in this car. As we head towards that line then, where are we going to finish there? 2027, 3 and 4 temps down essentially on the Corvette there. We'll see where that lines up in terms of optimums as we jump to that leaderboard now then. There's a Z4. We've not done that one yet. I do expect that one soon, hopefully. We jump to the board then, the Aston Martin P5. It's not up there in the slightest. I was at the very limits of that car. I couldn't really get much more out of it. And it's the mountain. It's the understeer on that mountain, which is the problem. Straight line speed is fine, but the understeer is so significant in this car. It's just when you get to corners, it just doesn't want to turn. And that is literally the major point to take from this. The fuel test, of course. We always do a fuel test here. And you're seeing that right there then. So top left, maximum RPM. So as the bar hits the end, we change gear. We have a quarter shift on the right-hand side. And at the bottom, fuel map. Only when you really need it, you use fuel map. Fuel map is the worst way to save fuel. Always remember that. So one of the problems with this car is it's very long 6th gear. But it's also a big benefit in terms of fuel saving. As we get towards the line then, that's a 24. I can't quite see that on my screen. We'll do the times at the very end. But we're on 60% fuel. Now remember, we have changed this to 2,000 meters rather than 2,500 because I thought it was a bit too long in terms of the straight. But you see that there, 60% in terms of that top left-hand side. We continue on then. Top right then finishes next. So it shows you do rev this car to the limit. There is definitely a performance hit there. And in the top right there, you can see significant downtime in terms of that time coming down, but fuel save 10% there, 60 to 70%. That's not too bad. As we advance further on here, just drop down to 75% there on that fuel map 3. Remember, that's a quarter shift with fuel map 3 because if you're using fuel map, you're also short shifting, except auto drivers. But that's a different story. We're not looking at it from that perspective. This is overall how you would play in terms of manuals. If you are racing on auto, try and learn manual, honestly. I really recommend it. Right, let's have a look at some leaderboards then. We're going to have quite a few of these charts up, folks. So, first up then, we have the overall times. You see the Aston Martin flat out. Actually, fuel map there. Fuel map 160 over 42. And it's not far off the 4GT. So, initially, this car saves a lot of fuel because of that long 6th gear. It accelerates all the way up to 6th gear and it can stay there as well. So, it's really good in that perspective. But then look at the bottom there. Using fuel map 3, it's at the bottom of performance. It's so impacted the second you nerf the engine power. And it's right at the bottom there. So we go to the performance now. This is the performance in terms of what is lost to fuel map 1 and where is the Aston Martin. The quarter shift is below some fuel map 3s there. That is huge, huge. You can't fuel save in this Aston Martin. It's flat out or not at all. When you're flat out, it can save the most, you know. It doesn't use a lot of fuel when it is flat out, but it's very significant in performance loss. As we look at the fuel level then, and the Aston Martin fuel map 3 is down there. It just doesn't save fuel very well at all in terms of the difference between fuel map 1 and fuel map 3. And obviously the performance is hit there. And that's what we're showing here. It just doesn't save fuel, and yet there's a massive performance loss. Look at P11, P12 there. The Viper, quarter shift, only uses 1.5 temps. The Aston Martin, 9 tenths of a second. Massive, absolutely massive. So flat out, this car is okay on very fast circuits. However, the second you need to save fuel, not very good. Let's jump to the Tyre Wear test then. This is also a very different test. Now, what we do here is we're on Daytona Tri-Oval, and we're just going to accelerate round until the first tyre wears out. That's all we're going to do here, so I'll fast forward this. Now, I have talked about this before in terms of MRs that are going to be at a disadvantage to FR cars. So we're just going to compare FR versus FR at the moment and MR versus MR. I have got an additional test in mind, and I've started doing that already. But until I have significant data, I can't really share that because it won't matter too much. But we're getting towards the end of this tyre wear test now. As you see here, we have to stay in 5th gear. Going to 6th gear, it actually loses a bit more speed. So I thought it was only fair to stay in the maximum speed possible. And we just finished there on lap number 3, 17.7 seconds on lap 3. So what we do now is we take the lap 1, the out lap time. We take the second lap there, the 52.8. And we take this lap time where we finish right now. And we combine them all together. And this tells us how long the tyres last in terms of the first tyre wearing out. So FR versus FR should be significant. And what we see here is a domination by the Aston Martin. So it saves tyres very nicely indeed. You can see that right there. It's like 8 seconds ahead of the Corvette. Miles ahead of the Audi there. Look at that, 30 seconds. And this is why we need a full coverage of the tyre test. In summary, though, look at that. The Aston Martin last. And it's the Suzuka one, which is significant there. Mid-speed corners, the Aston Martin is atrocious. A car I would highly avoid at mid-speed tracks, okay? Really, really, really highly avoid. Obviously, Beat the Meta was done at Deep Forest. Some long straights there. That's where it could catch up. But there were some significant issues in that video, and a video worth checking out. Now, if you did enjoy this video, car profiles will come out each and every week. Do subscribe to the channel. We are on the journey to 40k, and I do appreciate all the support. Give it a like on the way out as well. I appreciate that. It tells me you do like these videos and all the effort that goes into them. Lots of graphics there, lots of data, lots of investment done there for you, so you get all the best information. That's it for me. Thank you once again in terms of watching this video, and I hope to see you in another video. I'll live stream again very soon. And also check out that Beat the Meta right there.